Hi there, this is Dean Heskin again with the Secret War on Cash podcast, brought to you by Swiss American Trading Corporation. I have with me today my co-host, Chris Agelastos. Chris, how are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Well, we've covered a variety of topics over the course of the last several months that we've been doing this podcast. And as we say typically in the intro, most of them have to do with things that are helping to shape or develop our financial markets, our economy, prices of metal. We've gotten into that, some emerging things such as the BRICS alliance. Today, we're going to mix it up a little bit. Today, we're going to actually talk about something a little fluffier, let's say, or we'll call it fluffy anyways. And this is something that, the reason I wanted to cover this, because I thought it was a very interesting and appropriate thing to kind of give people a look into our market, what Swiss America does. For 42 years now, we've been one of the most largest and comprehensive precious metals dealers when it pertains to physical metal, buying gold, silver, coins, that type of thing. And what I've found over the years is now, in fact, this June, Chris, will be year 32 that I've been with Swiss America.
Wow.
What I have found over the years, one of the most common things when we talk to new prospective customers is it's always just absolutely kind of amazed me how so many people have never had any exposure or experience with the gold market or the coin market. And the reason that kind of amazes me is because it's a market that's been around literally forever. I mean, ever since a coin is first made, at some point it becomes an older coin, and at some point after that, it becomes an older coin that has a little bit more of a collectability to it and a little greater value, et cetera. So, with no further ado, the article on your screen or in the link, if you're tuning in on the audio, is talking about how these Danish heirs, they're going to sell a $72 million rare coin collection that they've been holding for 100 years. 100 years. Now, this was all part of a family estate, and my understanding of it, it was specified in the will that these coins were not to be sold until that 100-year threshold had been met, which I believe was from 1923 to now 2023. So tell us a little bit about this, Chris. What makes this so special? What makes it so valuable? What is it that people who are tuning into this might be able to take away from hearing a story like this?
Yeah, well, when I first read the headline, I thought, this guy put this clause in his will specifically so his coin collection could grow in value and his heirs would be able to profit on it down the road. And that is, of course, what happened. But what was interesting is the reason he bought all of this to begin with was to hedge and protect himself from a collapse. In the Danish community near World War I, he was especially concerned that, who knows who's going to be running things and what currency is going to last and what isn't. And so that's why he started amassing all of this, which oddly enough is why a lot of our clients today come to us, because they're frustrated with how the dollar has been managed and they're looking for a way to protect some of their savings. So the reason he picked 100 years, he figured that if the country is still standing in 100 years, then we're doing okay, and it'll be okay for my heirs then to sell this backup plan, if you will, and take the profits from it. So unfortunately for them, a fair amount of them have actually been living fairly meager lives because a large portion of his wealth was tied up and they couldn't access it. Or blow through it, really is what they said in here. So, but yeah, pretty interesting. 70-some million. Unfortunately, I looked and I don't have any link to this family. So I've got a few coins my grandpa left me, but they didn't quite perform like these ones. But yeah, it's pretty neat to see it in action. You bought something as a backup plan, and then of course with enough time, these became very collectible and sought after and protected. Sitting there essentially undisturbed for 100 years, and now collectors are clamoring to get in and buy some of these top examples of collectibles.
Yeah, well, and Chris, one of the things that, as I read this, which I'm well familiar with, given the years I've been involved in this business, and I actually had done a television interview a little earlier today where we were talking about this very article. And what's interesting is that you had these coins that had been accumulated and set aside, and again, it was stipulated for this 100-year period. Well, if you were to do that same thing with, like, just as an example, and not to pick on it, but let's say the stock market, you look at the changes that happen in that marketplace. For instance, or as an example, Xerox Corporation, which was once one of the pillars of our marketplace, of our economy. You're talking about technology in a company that became completely obsolete. And if you look at the history of stocks or equities or corporations, if you put some stocks away 100 years ago, there's very few of them that would still be actively trading today.
Right.
So hopefully along the way, maybe something was bought or sold and traded for something that, if you were to do this with stocks, that is still in existence today. But yet you have this coin collection that there was no maintenance to it other than just putting it away and forgetting about it. There was no worrying about whether or not the coin value was going to disappear, or the coin itself was going to disappear, or that coin would no longer become relevant. In fact, quite true to form to our marketplace, the longer that coin sat there, the more financially relevant it became in terms of becoming worth a greater value.
Right.
And that, I think, speaks volumes to, the reasoning and the rationale as to why people should be looking at getting involved in this marketplace.
Yeah, gold doesn't, there's periods of time, obviously, where it's more popular or less, but it never goes out of style, right? It's always been valuable. It's always been used as a currency, and a way to exchange means and take care of our families, whether it was in coin form or even jewelry, if you really needed to, barter in some sort of extreme situation. When people were fleeing Europe, during World War I, World War II, same thing. People would grab their gold and they would go. And obviously, we hope we're never in that type of a situation, but it is one of those things that can protect you from all kinds of bad situations. And the longer you sit there and hold it, and you don't, like you said, you don't have to do anything with it, just simply giving it that time to grow is going to benefit you greatly. So yeah, there's really no downside to it.
Protect you from those situations seen and perhaps even unforeseen. So
Right.
That's the beauty of, the having something that is an unencumbered asset that is tangible that you can go put your hands on. So for those of you tuning in, to learn more about this, about coins, about buying gold, buying silver, visit our company online, www.swissamerica.com. Or if you'd like rather speak to someone, talk to a representative, you can call us at 1-800-289-2646. And if you haven't subscribed to this podcast, please do, as we look forward to discussing things perhaps like this in the future, or other things as it relates to what is happening in our financial markets, what's happening to our wealth, and what's happening to our currency. Chris, thanks again. And I know that, with especially all that's been happening in the gold market, you've been incredibly busy here recently. So appreciate you taking the time as always. And for those of you tuning in, we can't wait to see you again next time.
Thank you.